like to call the meeting to order. And my apologies for the hammer here. Anyway, let's begin by joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Please stand. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Villaseñor.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gurrola.
Here.
Mayor Broggie.
Here.
Councilmember Austin.
Here.
Councilmember Mendez.
Here.
Thank you. And moving on to item number 4, I would like an approval of the agenda, please. A motion to approve.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
You have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none. Takes us to item number 5. And we have one presentation this evening. And this is proclaiming September 2024 as Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. So I'll invite our guests here this evening, and I'll come down and join you.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Broggie, City Council members, and City staff for helping us to bring awareness to this very important topic. It is National Suicide Prevention Month. My name is Maya Zumaya, and I am contracted by the County of Ventura Suicide Prevention Program. I'm a certified suicide prevention trainer. And I just want to share some information about National Suicide Prevention Month. So every year, suicide claims the lives of tens of thousands of individuals across the United States, leaving behind a trail of heartbreak, grief, and loss. Ventura County offers a variety of resources as well as direct services, all community education to support communities' mental health and wellness. Information accessible through Ventura County Behavioral Health. There's some information, there's some numbers that we'll go over. I also want to give some statistics through Ventura County. So 100 Ventura County residents died by suicide in 2023, which is down from 111 in 2022, but up from 97 in 2021. So firearms accounted for nearly half of all suicides in 2023. Firearms have been the leading means to commit suicide for the past 5 years, and through the Child Safety Project Child Safe, all of Ventura County Sheriff's Office offer free gun safety locks. So if you have a gun in home, you can go to the police station and acquire one of those for free. So what can we do to prevent suicide? The important thing is education and prevention. So knowing the warning signs, knowing how to ask directly if somebody is thinking about suicide, making a safety plan and reduce access to lethal means, connection to mental health professionals trained in suicide prevention and treatments, and then to create a system to respond to suicide risk in the least restrictive, least traumatizing way. So through the suicide prevention program through Ventura County Behavioral Health, we are offering free suicide prevention training. It's a 1-hour course of which you get certified in. And this helps you to know what the signs are, know how to speak to somebody who might be in crisis, how not to speak to somebody, how to refer them to help. And it's a great way to educate ourselves in the community. This course is free to all community members. It's not just for people within the profession. We are more than willing to work with the fire department, the police department to create an event for the community to come get trained. Parents can get trained, so this is a free course. The information is right there, but if you go to wellnesseveryday.org, you can set up a training, and this is a year-round program. There also is the 9th Annual Suicide Prevention Symposium, Never a Bother Because Together We Can Make a Difference. That is going to happen on Friday, September 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's limited space there, so you can register soon. If not, though, year-round you can register for the training. There's my contact information, and I've also left these flyers out front. And if you want some for your businesses or organizations, I can get you more of those. And you can schedule directly with myself. And I think the Mayor Broggie is going to offer a proclamation.
So on behalf of the City of Fillmore, we'd like to present you with this proclamation proclaiming September 24th as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Whereas September is National Suicide Prevention Month, a time to remember the lives lost to suicide, acknowledge the millions more who have experienced suicidal thoughts, and the many individuals, families, and communities that have been impacted by suicide. It's also a time to raise awareness about suicide prevention and share messages of hope. Whereas during September and throughout the year, we raise awareness about suicide prevention, connect to community, culture, data, and research, and collaborate with others to address this public health problem that has impacted millions of Americans. Whereas every community member can make a difference in helping end the silence and fight stigma by seeking a better understanding of mental illness and creating an environment where everyone feels comfortable reaching out for support. No one should fight alone. Whereas local and national organizations are on the front lines of a battle that many still refuse to discuss in public, and whereas all Californians are urged to play a role in suicide prevention and promote mental health and wellness as we strive toward zero suicides. And whereas if you or someone you know is in crisis, please contact the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Carrie Broggie, Mayor of the City of Fillmore, and on behalf of the Fillmore City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2024 as National Suicide Prevention Month, Awareness Month in the City of Fillmore. In witness whereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Fillmore, California, be affixed this 24th day of September. So, for you. What I'd like to do, we can do photos now, but I want to call our fire chief up. You want to ask the photos? Or? Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Our Fire Chief Keith Corolla has a few remarks he'd like to make.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor and Council, thank you for passing this resolution. It does mean a lot to the emergency services, law, fire, and EMS. I'd like to acknowledge Maya over the years, not just with the County of Ventura, but representing the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI. Throughout the years, she's worked with the fire department, given us training, given us the tools to recognize and to help out with those that are at risk. She's also helped out, I know, with the health fair that we have in the spring every year, representing the mental, or bringing to the forefront the mental illness awareness that obviously, again, is close to us as far as fire and police. She's done a lot of training with us over the years. So thank you again, Maya, for coming to the city and asking for this resolution. It means a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm sorry, if I may, can I make a comment as well?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I just, again, wanted to reiterate our thanks to Maya and for the work that she's done to really do everything possible to erase the stigma around mental health and around suicide prevention, suicide attempts, suicidal thoughts. It's such a heartbreaking issue in every community, including our own. And just want to thank you, Maya, for your efforts, and really reiterate to everyone who's here, everyone who's watching, everyone who will watch this, that Maya and her group are offering an amazing service free of charge. And so for Fillmore, those who particularly are associated with youth, whether you're a coach, whether you're part of our educational system, or just someone who wants this information on this special training for family members, please take advantage. You're welcome to come to the city, welcome to come to council members to get more information for us to connect with Maya. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maya.
Anyone else? All right, well, thank you very much again. So moving on to item number 6, public comments, and I have just one public speaker, Annette Sula.
Hi, I'm Annette Sula, a grateful member of this community for over 35 years. So I'm up here because I am confused. I thought that the petitions that we turned in about parents' rights in the issue of the governor's bill of 195 were going to be recognized or talked about or done something with tonight. So if you guys could please clarify that, that would be helpful, because it's something that we are very concerned about in this community, as you know, by the 200 people that signed those petitions, and we could certainly get a lot more. We only had one day to get those 200. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Okay, moving on to item number 7, City Council reports, recommendations, and comments, and I'll turn it over to Council.
I'd like to just report out on something that I asked the council to approach related to providing constitutions, pocket constitutions to students in Fillmore Unified School District. We came to an agreement with the school district to provide them to all of the 8th graders at the middle school. So I got to participate in a Constitution Day event last Tuesday, September 17th. And it's a congressionally recognized, a federal recognized day, a celebration of the Constitution, and we participated in some activities that was kind of tying the framing of the Constitution to how the students would kind of think about their own lives and understanding of the freedoms that they enjoy. So I'd like to thank the Fillmore Unified School District and especially the Board of Supervisors for the school for allowing us to do that, and then especially for the obvious impact that it made. The teacher who hosted made a comment saying that she won't have to make copies anymore as she tries to present items to the students. So it was very effective, and I hope that we can continue that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments from Christina?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to put a couple of reminders out. I know usually our city manager, Dave Rollins, will have his manager's comments, and maybe Kevin will, but I just wanted to mention that that we are near the end of September, and for City of Fillmore basketball registration, it is at the end of the month for our youth basketball. And they're really, the staff is really trying to get these registration in by the end of the month so they can really start organizing, getting the teams together. And there has been rollover into October, but the intent is for to get all of our children, our youth, registered by the end of September. So just a reminder for the community on that. And then also, I believe this Saturday morning at 8 a.m. is our citywide cleanup at, I don't remember the name, which well it is, but it is the well up the road going up towards Good Enough. And just for example, I have an old air fryer that is kaput and I'm really ready to get rid of. It sat on my kitchen counter. This is the opportunity. So this is something where the city will actually take your furniture, appliances, things that you cannot dispose of regularly, and you can actually bring it up to the well going up to Good Enough Road. There's information on the city's social media, the exact time and address, but it is this coming Saturday. And so just wanted to remind folks that this is a safe way to dispose of things that you usually can't dispose of. So that's it. Thank you.
And thanks for that reminder. So, anyone else?
Yeah, Tiffany, can you answer the question that Annette had about AB 1955, when we can expect to have that back on an agenda?
Yeah, that's going to be on the October 8th agenda since Dave's not here tonight.
Okay.
We wanted to be here for that.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Okay, seeing there no additional comments, we'll move on to item number 8, the consent calendar, and I will engage a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved. I second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the consent calendar is approved. Okay, moving on to item number 9, new business. And our first matter, 9A, is the award of a contract for conversion of the tennis court to combined tennis and pickleball courts. And I'll turn it over to staff and we'll get the details.
So after numerous requests by Fillmore residents for pickleball courts, the City Council approved a $40,000 allocation of ARPA funds in its fiscal year 24-25 budget for the conversion of one tennis court at the Fillmore Tennis and Swim Center to a combination tennis and pickleball court. Leveraging our resources with Sourcewell, staff worked with Horizons on scope, schedule, and cost for this project. Horizon is very well experienced with this type of project throughout Southern California, and the unit costs through the use of Sourcewell makes Horizon a very competitive firm for this project over other firms the city had entertained through the informal bidding process. The recommendation before you this evening is to approve and authorize the city manager to sign a contract with Horizons Construction Company for the conversion of a tennis court to a combined tennis and pickleball court at the Fillmore Tennis and Swim Center. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Before I turn it over to staff, I do have one public speaker on this matter, Tracy Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. I am an avid pickleball player. I've actually...
Maybe I should ask you the question. What's the big...
I actually brought the idea and proposal to pickleball to Parks and Rec back in May of '23. So I'm really excited to see it on the agenda tonight. I do have a couple of questions that perhaps you can answer, or somebody on the council. I'm just wondering, if we have $40,000 allocated, why we're only converting one tennis court. I know typically with one tennis court, you can make 2 pickleball courts out of that. So I was just kind of wondering why we're not doing both, because we could actually then have 4 pickleball courts as opposed to only having 2. Would make it very beneficial if we had a pickleball club in town that we could actually host maybe some tournaments and whatnot. And with 2 courts, you really can't do that. So that was my first question. The other question I noticed in the proposal is we're putting up some fixed nets or posts for the nets. Typically, unless it's a strictly pickleball court, not shared with tennis, you would put up nets and have them as a fixture. Otherwise, when they're a shared sport between pickleball and tennis, typically people bring in their own nets. So those posts wouldn't really be needed. And I was perhaps proposing that the offset of the cost of the fixed net posts, we could then do the other 2 pickleball courts on the other side. So that's my 2 cents for what it's worth. I'm super excited that this is going to move forward, and that, you know, you've heard the voice of the people, and thank you so much.
Thank you. And we will try to come up with answers, and well, maybe sooner rather than later.
So the alignment of the existing the tennis court is in the northwest direction. The north-south direction. And what we're doing on one side is we're putting one pickleball court on, facing west and east. And then the same thing on the other side of that tennis court, we're doing another one. So there's going to be 2 pickleballs to 1 tennis court. We've entertained costs from several different firms, and all were above 40 except for the use of Sourcewell and Horizons. That came in underneath or within our budget. So we're at that, that threshold. As far as the removable, they are removable posts that are inside the tennis courts, the setup for the pickleball courts. So we don't, they're supposed to be flush mounted plates, so whenever those poles are pulled out for the pickleball, that they're not an interference with the use of it as a tennis court. The cost of those fixed nets is approximately $1,500 to $2,000 per side. We did think about the removable type, and based upon security reasons, we felt like the fixed nets were the way to go.
Okay, I will turn it over to council for questions of staff.
Yeah, I was thinking of some similar type questions when I was reviewing the proposal. The current proposal would not resurface the other tennis court, correct?
Correct.
So the budget was for one conversion, so the conversion of two could potentially be much more costly because of the resurfacing of the other court, right? So based on the area?
Correct, yeah, I mean,
assumption?
what this involves is leveling the surface, taking out all the cracks, all the chips that might, come up through the painting process. And it's filling in the cracks with a filler, and then resurfacing the entire tennis courts, restriping, and then striping for the pickleballs. So that is a process. If this is successful, then, there could be a chance that we can do the neighboring court in a similar fashion.
Yeah, I think with much of the conversations that I've had in trying to encourage this process, that it's kind of a new thing in Fillmore and not necessarily something that would be out of the possibility of doing an additional improvement to the other court in the future. So I think that's, in my estimation, that's why it makes sense to go about just the conversion of one. And then also, I do believe, and I don't know if you have any insight, Joe, with the potential timeline or like how the removable pickleball nets will be made available. Is it expected to be in a time frame that they're available, already set up, or would they be rented and checked out?
That's a very good question. I don't think we've given much thought to a season. Certainly the tennis season, coordinating with the school's use and its rental. Those pickleball nets would be taken down during that part. I think the thinking is that there's a tennis court there freely available for tennis players. And in the off season, when the school is not using them for tournaments or whatnot, the other court would be set up with pickleball. And if we do get a renter in there that wants both courts, then it wouldn't take much for us to pull those poles and store them.
Okay, thank you.
Questions?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Joe. My question is actually about the lighting situation. I know that now that we have pickleball courts, and I do believe they are very popular, and they once people find out about them, they definitely want to use them. Can you tell me about how our lighting is at the tennis courts right now? And it's okay if you don't know. This just came to my mind.
You got deer in the headlights right now.
Okay.
I don't know about the lights. I know that we do have. Actually, I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I've only been there during the day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that just might be something for us to keep on our radar as council as things become more popular.
There are lights.
Okay. Thank you.
There's lights.
Okay.
I guess I'm gonna have to go watch YouTube of pickleball because I don't even know what it is.
Okay. I think Tracy's going to be giving lessons.
Okay. Well, I can go down and find Tracy.
Yes. And we're going to make her
Our mayor's gonna be our example. She's gonna play the first pickleball.
I've played.
Okay.
And I think we should
I think I'll watch YouTube first.
appoint Tracy as our pickleball director for Fillmore. Any other questions?
No.
All right, discussion?
No, I think it's a great opportunity for Fillmore to get into something new. People in Fillmore are more and more active. I've got two veteran neighbors who started bugging me about this as soon as I started making acquaintances, and so I'm happy that hopefully we can move forward with this.
I will make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I move that the city council approve and authorize the city manager to sign a contract with Horizons Construction Company, Inc., Horizons, for the conversion of a tennis court to a combined tennis and pickleball court at the Fillmore Tennis and Swim Center, project specification number 24-04.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion or agenda item passes. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to item number 8B. Introduction of ordinance amending Fillmore Municipal Code, Chapter 15-39, to increase penalties for violations of the prohibitions on dangerous fireworks. And I will turn this over to our city attorney.
Yes, thank you. I'll be presenting this item tonight. This item is being presented to the council as an opportunity to discuss whether to increase administrative and criminal fines in connection with fireworks. At the August 14th City Council meeting, the City Council requested an assessment of the city's options to increase firework fines in the city's administrative fine schedule. This item will present the City Council with the opportunity to discuss increasing the fines, as I mentioned. The state of California limits consumer fireworks to those described in California Health and Safety Code section and is defined as safe and sane, which are fireworks that are non-aerial and do not explode. In addition, fireworks that may be sold in California must appear in an approved list of fireworks that is issued each year by the state's fire marshal's office. Safe and sane fireworks may be discharged within the city beginning on noon, June 28th through noon on July 5th, and only on your own personal private property and at least 5 feet away from any dwelling or structure. Dangerous fireworks are everything else, and they pose a threat to safety as they have the potential to cause fires and bodily injury, in addition to causing public nuisance conditions such as loud noises, explosions, and smokes. However, the Fillmore Municipal Code does not currently adopt the state fireworks law, which would permit increased administrative fines and significant criminal fines for possession, use, and sale of dangerous fireworks. If the City Council were to adopt the state fireworks law, the city could recover up to $100,000 for a violation depending on the weight of dangerous fireworks seized by the city. This could serve as a significant deterrent to potential violators. The state fireworks law provides 2 avenues for local agencies to impose fines and penalties. The first is through administrative fines. The second is through criminal misdemeanor penalties. The administrative fine framework is applicable to those violations where the violator is in possession of less than 25 pounds of dangerous fireworks and may be issued by the city. The criminal misdemeanor penalties apply following a misdemeanor conviction and then are imposed by the court. The Health and Safety Code section authorizes development of local ordinances regarding possession of dangerous fireworks and sets out requirements for those local ordinances. In most circumstances, a fine of $1,000 is the maximum fine allowed for a misdemeanor. However, under a Health and Safety Code section, we can impose fines of not less than $1,000 and not more than $2,000 for possession of less than 25 pounds of dangerous fireworks. As such, the city may impose an administrative fine up to a maximum of $2,000 for each violation of its dangerous fireworks ordinance. Currently, we only impose a fine of $1,000. For criminal penalties, in addition to the administrative fines, the state fireworks law provides greater fines that may be imposed by a court following a misdemeanor conviction, depending on the gross weight of the dangerous fireworks. For less than 25 pounds, the fine could be $1,000 to $2,000. For 25 to 100 pounds, it could be $2,000 to $10,000. For 100 to 5,000 pounds, it could be $10,000 to $20,000. And over 5,000 pounds, it could be between $20,000 and $100,000. Of course, those kinds of busts are very rare. Another caveat is that the city would relinquish 65% of the fines imposed on violators to the state controller for the State Marshal Fireworks Enforcement and Disposal Fund. The funds are transferred to pay for the destruction of the seized dangerous fireworks, which is done by the State Fire Marshal's Office. So if the proposed ordinance is adopted, upon the first conviction, the penalty would be consistent with the penalties described in the Health and Safety Code, which depends on the weight of the dangerous fireworks, and a second or subsequent conviction would be an additional $10,000 fine on top of the penalties articulated in the Health and Safety Code. So the ordinance being presented to you tonight is the maximum fines that are allowable, but please discuss this and let us know if you want to change some of them to retain existing fine amounts or to do something in the middle. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Okay. Any questions from council for staff?
I have a question about the 65% allocation. I think in the footnotes of the packet, it should be clear, but that's for anything 25 pounds and over for that fine schedule, whereas the
Criminal
city would,
violations,
right,
not under the administrative, we still retain.
we would retain all of it. Okay.
Anyone else? I had a quick question for you, Tiffany, and this is referenced under the second paragraph under discussion. I guess for some reason it indicates that the safe and sane fireworks can only be set off on personal property. We can't go to parks and do that. I'm thinking people from out of town that come in, and I think that happens probably a lot. So, okay. Anyone else? Questions?
Is that a change, or has that always been like that? Okay.
News to you?
News to me.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of people that might have been under the assumption that you could set off your fireworks at
I think a lot of people don't think about it, but you are supposed to do it on private property, yeah.
Good to know. Okay. So, any additional questions?
Just one question. Thank you, Tiffany. When we say 25 pounds, again, I'm just trying to imagine what a ballpark of like fireworks that is. Is that quite a bit? What would 25 pounds be in terms of volume of one of these illegal fireworks?
I have personally never been.
Weighed them.
That's a lot of weight. I don't know. Usually, what we confiscate is just a handful of illegal fireworks. Although there has been seizures of large quantities like that, but they're not very common. But I couldn't tell you.
That's okay. All right, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe Chief Roll.
Yeah.
We're talking the illegal style, but if you look at for those of you that are familiar with selling the legal, the big party block,
right.
huge one like that, that's usually 20 to 30 pounds.
Okay.
But on the illegal side, we have confiscated the tubs. If you look at the kind of the smaller black with the yellow lid tubs, that's again, each fireworks is different, but that's kind of gives you a ballpark. One of those tubs is probably about 20 to 25 pounds.
Do you remember a couple of years ago, didn't we discover one with a guy had them all in his garage?
Yes, we did. Yeah, I believe it was
neighborhood
early 2000s, and it was. I know the exact address,
yeah.
but yeah, the sheriff did do a search and seizure, and it was a pickup truck, the back end of a pickup truck load full. So, yeah, so it is possible. Oxnard had a major bust, I believe, with a U-Haul style truck this year. So it is possible.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Before we go on, I'm going to back up, and we do have one public speaker on this, and I apologize for not calling you a moment ago. So, come on, this is Derek, and help me with your last name? Farage.
Yep.
Thank you.
Raj with an F. Good evening, Mayor Brogy, esteemed council members and staff. My name is Derek Farage, and I am a resident here in Fillmore. I'm here to voice my strong support for the proposed updates to the fireworks ordinance. As someone who values both community and safety, I understand the significance of safe and sane fireworks sales to our local organizations, and I fully support celebrating our Independence Day with a professional 4th of July show. However, I take issue with the perceived leniency currently shown to those who use illegal fireworks, which possess a serious danger to our community. The $1,000 fine, in my view, falls short of addressing the gravity of the issue. The proposed ordinance's approach is imposing higher fines and allowing for potential of criminal prosecution of those engaging in illegal fireworks use throughout the year is not only appreciated, but commendable. Illegal fireworks pose several risks. They disturb residents, scare pets, wake people up in the middle of the night, and most concerning, harming veterans suffering from PTSD. Beyond these nuances, they represent a clear public safety hazard with potential to cause serious injuries and ignite fires, especially given our dry conditions. With this in mind, I would appreciate a little bit of clarification on a couple points from staff and fire and the sheriff. What will the enforcement policy and procedures entail? How will this be implemented, and will it give the community confidence that violations will be addressed promptly and seriously? Regarding the staff report, Health and Safety Code Section 12701 states that a person is guilty of a separate offense for each day of violation. Does this mean multiple offenses that are caught in the same day will only result in one charge? Does a deputy need to witness the illegal fireworks in action to open an investigation, or can deputies use video evidence submitted by neighbors to pursue violations? In closing, I believe this update strikes a balance between supporting our local organizations and maintaining the safety of well-being of our community. By holding violators accountable through stricter penalties, we ensure that Fillmore remains safe and peaceful for all. Thank you for your time and consideration of this item. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, discussion amongst staff?
Yeah, I had a question or something that's running through my mind. So if we pass this ordinance, Chief Lau, what do you think the majority of these fines are going to be? Are they going to be that $1,000 to $2,000 range? Are we expecting?
If I just go based on the numbers from,
Past years?
again, from last year and this past year, or this year, I'm sorry, it would be the 2,000 range.
Okay.
So, but again, like Heath mentioned, before I got here, early 2000s, there was a case where there was, where the 100,000 or whatever the amount is, the 25 pounds would apply. So, but speaking just from last year and this year, 2,000.
And so, if we don't pass this, we make another recommendation. What's the maximum fine that we can impose?
These ordinance.
Chief?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just for the benefit of everyone in the community who have been following the fireworks situation, some for years, can you elaborate a little bit on how difficult it is for your staff and your officers to actually locate those who are setting off the fireworks, the illegal fireworks?
Yeah, so as you can imagine, from June 28th through July 5th, we get tons of calls throughout the city. And they're, illegal fireworks, and then there's also the legal, safe and sane fireworks. So some people can't differentiate between the two. They're fireworks and they report that. A lot of the reporting that we get is, it's pretty vague. It's a general area. There's somebody lighting fireworks on, and they give a pretty general area. They don't give specific locations. Every once and again, we do get specific addresses. But again, that's, based on our response time, we don't actually observe that. We don't get compliance from residents often. So it is very difficult. It's just one of those things where it's like, we kind of got to pick and choose where we're going to go, and hopefully we catch people. Some of them, a couple of them this year, we did catch them in the act with proactive policing out there that our deputies were doing. Some of them were reported to us. Some of them were with EMS where people, a lady got her finger blown off. So it's there's a lot of calls. Very difficult to kind of pinpoint the calls.
Right. I mean, one thing that the city did do in the last couple of years is rather than law enforcement having to pinpoint the person who set off the firework, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what the law used to be. The ordinance now indicates that whichever the homeowner from where it was being shot off at.
Yeah.
So you're not pinpointing the person, you're pinpointing the residence that it came from and the homeowner.
Yeah, obviously if we catch the person doing the firework in the act, then we can fine or ticket that person or take them to jail, depending on what it is. The city ordinance does give us the ability to provide an administrative citation to the residents, and not a specific person to that residence. So if we identify the residence itself, somebody inside that residence in the backyard or the front yard is lighting off illegal fireworks, then through the city we can issue an administrative citation to the residents.
Okay, so real quick, Tiffany, to you. So if the law enforcement is able to identify the residents, does all this apply to the residents? In other words, could the resident be fined $200 or $2,000? Okay, so it's not, again, it's not simply
administrative sites.
Okay.
When it's the individual, then that's when you can do a criminal cite if applicable.
Right, okay, great. Good to know.
And I've got a quick question, maybe for clarification. When you're saying homeowner and resident, what if it's a rental unit? Does that go to the resident or the homeowner? Who owns the home?
Who's in control of the property?
Okay, so it's the renter.
Right, there can be a renter cited.
And if you can't find the renter, then you go to the homeowner?
Well, no, I mean, you would go through the legal process to serve notice of the site. I mean, I think you just send the letter with the citation notice.
I'm only asking because that's kind of the incident that happened up on Foothill, where his hill caught on fire. We had a rental across the street that we thought was them, and I didn't know who would get the citation.
All right, any other?
I do have a question, Mayor, and if Chief could address the question from the sir who just spoke previously about the videotaping potentially of an act in progress.
Right.
You know, what's our legally what
we
can be done
are
there?
the scenarios he mentioned, we are able to take action depending on the video, and if we can identify somebody on the video, we do have that ability to issue citations. So I'm trying to think this year if we got any video from anybody. We have gotten stuff like that in the past, but again, it's just like from down the street, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly who's doing it or where it's coming from. A lot of these fireworks are done in the middle of the street, so it's not like you can tie it to a house. So yeah, but we can use video to some extent.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other? So I just want to reiterate what I've said multiple times in the past, especially during July when we really had a lot of our citizens here talking about this issue. This is important to me to get this under control with the illegal fireworks, because what I hear constantly, and most of you know this, and I'm sure you hear the same thing, is that people want to do away with fireworks, and they're not differentiating between the legal and the safe and sane fireworks. Safe and sane fireworks that are sold from all the nonprofit agencies in the community go right, the funds that are earned from the sales go right back into the community. They go to the kids' sports activities. It goes to just anything you can think of that where nonprofits are involved. And my biggest concern is that there's such an uproar from not just people in Fillmore, but even other cities in the community who want Fillmore to stop selling safe and sane fireworks because they don't make they don't differentiate between the two. And so that's my concern. That's why I really want to hammer down on those who are using the illegal fireworks, the ones that shoot up in the air and the ones that explode. So, all right. With that said, anybody else?
I had pertaining to his question about the 2 citations in a day. What was that again, Derek?
If you're setting off if you're caught twice, you'll get 2 citations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense, obviously. All right.
Just wanted clarification.
Then I will.
I have one, just it would be a clerical correction, I think, in the fiscal impact section of the report. It almost appears that the maximum collection could be $1 million, just to avoid any misinformation or misrepresentation of what we're trying to do here. I think it should be $100,000 there.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
Maybe we can put the $1,000 fine to $1 million.
All right. Well, we'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I move to approve ordinance number 24975, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Fillmore, California, amending Chapter 15.35 of the Fillmore Municipal Code to increase the penalties for violation of the prohibition on dangerous fireworks.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, this matter passes. Yay. Thank you. All right, moving on to our next agenda item, 9C, and this is regarding our housing element, and I will turn it over to our planning director, Kevin McSweeney.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight's a public hearing on the housing element, the 6-cycle housing element for the time period between the year 2021 to 2029. You previously reviewed this, and the Planning Commission has reviewed this as well in the year 2021 and 2022. with direction for us to submit it to HCD, the state of California, for their review, which we've done now 4 times. And we have revisions each and every time. The state of California now has conditionally certified the housing element and is ready for adoption. It means conditionally, there's one important condition, and there is a housing program identified. We are to adopt that housing program by December 2025. That housing program is a program that you as City Council directed the city staff to create, and that is started back in 2018 or 2017. The direction given to us is to look at creating a housing overlay on the commercial highway property along the north side of the highway between A Street and Mountain View and south of Santa Clara Street. All of those blocks, you would like to put an overlay on top of that, so if someone chooses to put residential there, they can, and affordable and at a higher density, between 15 to 20 units per acre. Currently, that property is all commercial highway, but a lot of that property is used as residential, putting people in a non-conforming status. This would resolve the non-conforming status, and it would be easier to obtain loans to remodel a house. Anyway, the HCD said we are to have that program adopted by December, and we're working on that program right now. So we're doing our best to get that done. The housing elements is this big bad beast, 385 pages. Every cycle doubles in size, but that concludes my presentation. I'll take any comments that you may have. I will make a special note. We've been having a housing advocate group follow us since day one. House farm workers, we've included every single one of their comments. They've commented tonight, and their comment is please follow HCD's direction, adopt that program by December, and they're in full support of our housing element.
Great, okay. Before I turn it over to council, we do have one other public speaker on this matter, Gabriel Venom. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Close enough.
Well, now you can give us the correct saying.
Yeah. So, good evening, City Council, Mayor, and City staff. I'm the person Kevin McSweeney just referred to. I'm part of the House Farm Workers group and also the House Farm Workers Fillmore and Piru Affordable Housing Task Force. And the email he referred to was sent in by our strategic advisor, Jennifer Coyle, and hopefully you guys were all CC'd on that. I don't know if you've had a chance to review it yet. So they have kept us in the loop, and we do appreciate that. We appreciate being a part of this housing element process. We do understand that the city needs to complete the rezone that Kevin just mentioned. Otherwise, the housing element is deemed out of compliance. And I just want to clarify that it might have been an original plan to have December 2025, but what HCD is requesting is December of this year. So, like I said, in the email that our strategic advisor sent out, she detailed which areas and which parcels need that zone change. So what we're urging today is that in the resolution, that staff is directed to expedite the needed rezoning by December 31st, 2024, and then submit documentation to HCD for reconsideration to get a compliant housing element. And this helps the city and people building in the city be able to apply for funding that's needed, especially needed for affordable housing. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, turning it over to council for questions of staff.
Yes, Mayor, I do have several.
Okay.
Thank you. So thank you for your presentation, Kevin. My questions are around the rezoning and the overlay that's needs to take place, directed to do since back in 2018. I think you've indicated that it's quite quite the task, and it's a bit in the weeds to get through this. Can you elaborate a bit more about how the city is going to work towards this deadline to get into the full compliance and to get these rezoning done?
Thank you. Well, we have an assigned schedule. We're a little bit behind right now. We may need to hire a consultant to help us meet that schedule, but right now we don't think we need that assistance. We need to present this to the Planning Commission in November and present it to the City Council in December. So far we're on schedule. If we can, we'll be before the Planning Commission in October. The change that we need to do is we need to create a new zoning classification. And we have a draft of that right now. And it's called residential medium to high, 15 to 20 units per acre. It'll allow lots to be as small as 3,200 square feet. It will address lot coverage, setbacks, garage requirements. So we had to create those standards, and then those are the standards that we'll present to the Planning Commission and the City Council. And it's a large area, and once that's done, that'll be presented to the HCD. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, and I believe you did. So, but I hearing the comments from House Farm Workers. My comment back is to really impress upon the need for the city to move forward with the element, with really getting the tools that we need. If we do not have them in house, that I really recommend that we it's brought before us if need be to look at a consultant on that. And again, the reason I think it was alluded to, but just wanted to just really reemphasize that there are certain grants, particularly around, like we said, affordable housing. There's areas like if we don't get the full certification, I think it's called substantial compliance. Right now we have statutory compliance, but if we don't get substantial compliance, things like the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities grant is out of reach. So is the Caltrans Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant, and I think we were just talking as a city council, Mayor Pro Tem Garola was talking about what we can do to move forward about transportation planning. Community development block grants and infill infrastructure grants. Those just to name a few of them. And these are all areas that I think we need as a city to be able to move forward on. So I just want to impress upon us, fellow council members, that this is something that we're at the very edge. We're not the edge, but we're at almost the very end. And so whatever we can do as a council to support staff to get to that finish line, I really want to impress upon us to do. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for staff?
Yeah, Kevin, you mentioned part of the plan, and you had mentioned December 2025. Did you just maybe misspeak? Or
I did. It's December 2024.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm looking at December 2025 for building codes.
Right. No worries. I understand. Yeah, I'd also just like to impress upon the public that this document is just over 350 pages. So if you can imagine this being the 6th cycle and it being reviewed 4 times now, that there's a lot of analysis that goes on. But I also would like to compare that to the Constitution that our framers provided, and how a lot of times, slow and steady works. So not to diminish the value of the need for housing, but also to impress upon that the public that the slow and steady pace that Fillmore has is meaningful. It's well thought out. If we, potentially miss some deadlines for the need of HCD, I would impress upon the city staff to continue the slow and steady vision that we have to still meet the needs and the requirements set forth by the state, but not to rush the process. We are Fillmore. We have a unique character, and I think that the slow and steady pace reflects that character.
Nice weaving that together.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I also have to say a few more comments to that, and that is that think Fillmore is the last city within the county that has not yet fully adopted the housing element. And we are in 2024 of the 2021 to 2029 cycle. So we are 3 years in. And again, I want to impress upon too that the city has been working with Kimley Harmark, our consultant, diligently. We have an amazing, it is a big document. It has really good demographic information also about the city of Fillmore. So I encourage folks who want to look and see sort of the latest information, please look at the housing element. But, we had a conversation on city council, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but we talked about making the effort as a city to, to basically do our best not to always play catch up. And I think that we're, like I said, I think we're really almost there. And I'm not saying that we're trying to rush, and when we get the housing element done, there's gonna, we're gonna do this, and this. This just, if we accomplish our housing element, it just opens windows of opportunity in the future for there to be really thoughtful consideration for housing, and not just affordable housing, but this is also looking at our workforce housing, our middle income housing, and so that's, I think, just really important. Just want to stress that back. Thank you.
Okay, just a couple things pertaining to the RENA, the RHNA, and forgive me for, can you share with the community what the RENA stands for?
It's called a Regional Housing Needs Assessment.
Right.
There are numbers assigned to us by the SCAG. We don't create the numbers.
Right.
They look at our vacant area, and they've identified 415 homes should be planned for between 2021 and 2029, and we'll have no problem meeting that requirement.
Okay, and under RENA, there has been 3 different categories of housing. Is that correct? And the point I'm getting at is that as recently as 2 weeks ago, there was a piece of legislation sitting on the governor's desk to be signed. It was going to add 2 additional categories. So how is that, can you share how that's going to impact, is that impacting this report? And I'm not sure if he signed it.
It does not affect this current housing cycle. So right now we have categories in our housing, which is high income, medium income, and low income. If you can just think of it like that. And it's based on median income for a family of 4 of about $96,000 is about what Ventura County has for median income.
Okay.
And then what is discussed at the state level, your next housing cycle, cycle number 7, they'll include extremely low income in that category. So we'll need to start planning for that at that stage.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm drawing a blank, but there was another category that they were going to include that was, the language on it, the way it was worded was just, I thought, and it brings me to page 45 of the report, under the document content and layout in chapter 4. And I highlighted this because this is our housing plan. I think in summary, basically how it's broken down.
Yep.
And the chapter 4 housing plan is captioned. One of the goals, or one of the items I think that we are working toward, is removing governmental constraints to affordable housing. And it kind of goes back to, I think, what Chris was saying, that everything's being dictated to us. And I go off on a tangent on this almost every meeting. But I would really love to see removing governmental constraints to affordable housing. I don't know if we would ever see that day, but.
It's occurring right now with state laws, and I know we're off on a tangent. This doesn't have much to do with the actual housing element, which is a plan, but every 6 months we have new state laws, and when it pertaining to affordable housing. So we have a product right now, and according to state laws, it did not require planning commission review, it didn't require city council review, no public hearing review, no environmental review. It still took a considerable amount of time because we had to go through a lot of engineering and infrastructure. We still had to do a review, but it didn't have any of those public hearings. So we're seeing removal of or streamlining a process for affordable projects, and we'll see more of that in the future.
Yeah, I think what happens though is we end up losing a lot of the safeguards.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So now instead of presenting a project to the Planning Commission first, in certain situations, they can go straight to the planning department and have one person, i.e. Kevin McSweeney, sign off on it. So fortunately, Kevin's digging in his heels and fighting back on a lot of it and making them still comply with what he thinks the planning commission would have done anyway. So anyway, off my tangent. And any other comments?
I just had a quick, Kevin, so do you think that you'll be able to get that December 2024 deadline done, like in your opinion? Or are we
We'll be 90% there. If we're 90% there, we should be okay with the state of California. If we're at 80% or 85%, we're going to be in big trouble with the state of California. And I've been in trouble with them, and it's not fun. And you really dig a grave that's hard to get out of. So we're motivated to get that completed.
All right, any other discussion points? Then I will entertain a motion. No one wants to take one on.
I'll move to approve resolution 24-4030, resolution of the City Council of the City of Fillmore approving the general plan amendment 22-1 to adopt the 2021 to 2029 City of Fillmore housing element and finding of exemption procedure.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, this agenda item passes. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 10, committee, commission, and board reports. And so turning it over to council, anything you'd like to share?
I just want to share that September 28th is going to be the Banana Festival over at the Port Wainebi at the harbor. And I recently took a tour, and I mean, it's amazing what they do there. And I encourage everybody to go and learn how the harbor affects not only their area, but how it affects ours and how commerce moves through the county. Because it all comes in at the port. And I think it's important to know, like, where your goods come through and where they come from.
Yeah, I think the port's doing a really good job of a whole lot of PR. But I ran into somebody who had flyers for the Banana Festival, and I thought, well, this is new. You know, they're trying to compete with Oxnard and the Strawberry Festival. Now they're going to do a Banana Festival. And lo and behold, I learned that they've been holding, this is the 11th year they've had a Banana Festival. And I'd never heard of it before. So, all right. Anyone else? Okay, I have a couple of things here. Last week I was at a conference for Mobility 21, which specifically includes all of the transportation commissions across the southern region of California, anything related to transportation, any body, any government entity, representatives from all sorts of, like Caltrans and Metrolink, and they were all there. It was probably over 1,000 people at this conference. So I learned quite a bit. It was beneficial, and I'm really glad that I went. And then I wanted to give everyone a heads up, too, that there is going to be a social media workshop, and this is specifically designed for business owners in town. And this city is partnering up with Economic Development Collaborative, all sorts of different agencies to do free training for any business owner who's interested in learning how to do better social media marketing. And this is, I think a great move for the city businesses to participate in, and the city's trying to assist in the business owners in furthering their marketing and just improving their businesses. So, and that's being held on, I had the date a minute ago, where's it on here? It's at 6 o'clock. There's not a date on here.
It's in October, right? Was it the first week of October?
October 9th, in small print over here. October 9th at 6. This information is available on our website, and I'm going to ask that Sean McCulley, who operates our Fillmore calendar, that's generic for the city overall, to add it to his calendar as well. And that's all I have, I think. Anyone else?
I want to piggyback on what you just reported. Also, if there's small business owners in town, if you're interested in starting a business or your business needs help, The EDC offers lots of great tools. They offer small business loans. Mayor Brogy just announced, you can get your social media training, but they offer a wide variety of services that you can go to, and they'll help you. So I'd encourage any small business owner in the city to reach out to the EDC Collaborative.
Thank you.
The information is a little more clear about the social media workshop. If you go to the website and click on the item, it also has a link for Zoom to be able to attend the meeting virtually, and I believe it'll also be recorded and posted in some fashion later if you're unable to attend.
Great. Anyone else? Okay. Then we now will turn it over to Kevin McSweeney as our interim city manager here.
This information is coming from Dave Rollins, the city manager. I'm just going to read what he wrote for me to read out loud. And Councilmember Christina Villasenor made some of those comments already. Youth basketball sign-up and coaches registrations began on August the 1st. The last day of registration, September 30th. The registration fee is $100 per player. Taking applications to be a gym manager is $20 an hour, and referees is $16 an hour. New and returning referees, I'm not sure what that means, is $17.50 an hour. Number 2, the Fillmore Legends Adaptive Basketball League is designed to support athletes seeking extra assistance to engage in sports. It allows participants to progress at their own pace and develop as individual players according to their unique needs. Questions for that can be called at 805-524-3701, extension 713. For businesses, Economic Development Collaborative in the City of Fillmore have arranged social media. You've already covered that. It's October the 9th at 6 p.m. Fillmore Cleanup Day, you've already covered that. That's Saturday, September 28th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at well number 4. That's along Goodenough Road between A and B Street. Small businesses can drop off trash as well. Trash, recyclables, furniture, appliances, old tires, refrigerators, computers, television sets, and stereos can all be accepted. The Fall Household Hazardous Waste is on October the 5th, and it allows residents and small businesses to drop off materials not accepted at the general trash. And the household hazardous waste will be from 8:30 to 1:30 at the Public Works Yard. Collection of chemicals, household pool, gardens, pesticides, batteries, autos, household fluorescent tubes, and solvents and others will be collected. Oh my gosh. The collection will not accept explosives, ammunitions, fireworks, radioactive waste, infectious waste, and will not accept smoke alarms. Who knew? I didn't know that. Anyway.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, that sums it up. Okay, we have, on our agenda indicates we have closed session coming up next, but we do not have closed session, I'm told. So that just leads us to adjournment. I appreciate everyone tuning in and those that showed up here in the room and paying attention to what's going on in your community. Thank you. We are now adjourning to our next regularly scheduled meeting on October 8th at 6:30 p.m. right here in City Hall.